guys, Jesse Laflair here from Laflairparkour and Team Tempest, here with my pro teammate Corey DeMeyers.
What's up, guys?
Just took first place at the Red Bull Art of Motion. Congrats to him.
Thank you very much.
Today we're actually doing a tutorial on the double leg, and the reason why I have Corey here is because he has one of the highest double legs I've ever seen. So I'd rather him teach you his technique, and hopefully we all get a little bit better at it. So Corey's been working on his channel, and we got some cool stuff going on with that. Why don't you tell him about it?
Yeah, definitely, Jesse. Jesse and I have actually been doing a lot of collaborative stuff as of lately. You guys have probably seen that in such things as Redneck Freerunning and the From Here to There tour that we just did in Europe. So we're going to be doing a lot more collaborative videos, not only for Jesse's video, but for my channel. As well, we're releasing a series called the Freerunning Dictionary, which Jesse is producing and I'm hosting, that will live between the two channels as well. So if you'd like to keep up to date with all of our crazy projects, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel right here.
Nice, look at that box, it's so pretty. Yeah, subscribe, box is there, it's going away, but the link is in the description. Don't worry, if you guys want to subscribe, make sure to do that at the end of the tutorial. All right, so check it out. There are some progressions to doing a double leg, and those are being able to do a side flip. I have a side flip tutorial already up that has lots of progressions into the concept of getting your spatial awareness and all these other things. So if you want to see that, your side flip tutorial is right here. Click it, check it out, then come back to this one. It'll open up a new window and it's gone. Check it out. Let's move on.
So a few things that are different between a side flip and a double leg. A side flip is a tucked flip. So you're doing a flip over your head and your shoulders while tucking your legs in nice and tight, like a back tuck or a front tuck. A double leg is a pike position. So you're actually bent at the waist, both legs are together while performing that sideways rotation. It used to be called a double leg 540 in tricking, because during a double leg side flip, you are doing a 540-degree rotation and you're landing back facing the way that you started.
So now let's get into it. First thing we need to figure out is how to get the height. So we're going to start with the gather step.
Right, so the gather step is a really important technique in a lot of different free running moves, especially when you're going outside and you're doing things on the concrete and you're not on a spring floor anymore. Yeah. Common misconception is that it's okay to punch. I'll say in certain situations punching is okay, but if you're punching on concrete all the time, you're going to cause long-term damage to your ankles and your knees. So the gather step is something that we can use to avoid that, as well as get us the height that we need in our double leg technique. Cool. So a gather step is like a miniature J-step, for those of you that know what a J-step is. If not, if you're fans of basketball or you play basketball, it's kind of similar to the setup during a jump shot. So what I do is I take a few steps to get my momentum. As I'm coming in, the last two steps that I take are my gather step. So for me, I'm jumping off both legs, leading with my right shoulder. So my left leg takes my second to last step in a small J-step pattern, and my right leg meets it. At the same time, I bend my knees to gather my energy into my legs to load the springs before I start to jump. So one more time, the gather step technique is the last two steps in your run-up. Back leg first, front leg second. I'm already bending my knees into the jump. Then I'm gonna drive up through my shoulders, through my hips, and all the way through my toes into my jump. That's a gather step, and that's gonna help us avoid punching.
Nice. A super common mistake people think about these gather steps. It's not a punch, right? So in the same thing, we're not jumping down into the ground in any way. That's something that happens a lot. You're just wasting energy and it's not helping the force of the movement drive up. The idea is we're gathering all of the energy, and some people actually talk about gather steps like as if you're stepping on a piece of glass or something, right?
Yeah.
So you're stepping in fast, but you don't want to put too much energy into the ground until you're coming up.
Yeah, step, step, jump.
Step, step, jump.
Step, step, jump. Nice. I think where people get confused and they think that you're jumping into a gather step is because you are trying to bring your momentum across the floor. So you're coming across the floor, and sometimes the last little move is seen as a jump, but it's more of forward momentum across the floor, not up and down. Awesome.
All right, so we've covered the gather step. You guys now know to come in, follow all the way through your legs, and remember to leave all the way through your toes head to toe, and now we're gonna talk about our arms and our shoulders, how to get some height, maybe where to look.
Yeah, arms, shoulders, very important. So one thing that I think a lot of people forget about is their shoulders and their arms. You know, we're all under the impression that the only way to set a front flip or a back flip is with our arms, this way, with our hands above our head, or to set our side flip here. With a double leg, you don't get to put your hands up in the air nice and high and then pull them in and do this piked formation. That might look a little too pretty for what we're trying to do. So my trick is to set with the shoulders. Everybody asks me, how do I get so high on my side flips? Number one, I use a gather step technique, and I have huge legs.
I was just gonna say, number one, you got huge legs. All right, number two, what's number two?
Number two is setting with the shoulders. Setting is a very important thing that we have to do in any kind of flip that we're trying to perform. And what that means is making sure that we get the height before we perform the flip. So, setting with the shoulders, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my arms first to help me generate the momentum needed to do the twist. So as I come in for my gather step, I'm actually reaching behind me with my shoulders, and I'm taking my arms all the way around my body, kind of starting my rotation. So this is what's going to help me get the torque that I need to do the rotation in the flip. Now if you notice my shoulders, they're not down. My shoulders are pointed up almost at a 45-degree angle, and as I jump through my toes, I'm gonna push all the way up through my shoulders. So the angle that my shoulder is at is what's gonna vary my height. So if your shoulders are at a very sharp angle up, you're gonna send your flip up. If your angles are at a very sharp angle facing out or down, your flip is going to go out or down. So one more time, using my arms, I'm gonna generate the momentum needed to initiate the twist in the flip. As I jump, I'm gonna drive all the way through my shoulders to set my flip nice and high. Now the next step after I start to set the flip is to spot. You wanna look where you're going, not where you were at. So I'm gonna look over my back shoulder, and immediately I'm going to be able to see my landing. Now that's a very important step, not only for a double leg, but any flip, is spotting your landing. The cool thing about a double leg is for 3/4 of the flip, you can see the ground the entire time, which just allows us to do things like double leg precisions and double leg variations with leg grabs, because you can see where you're going the whole time.
Leg grabs, it's the future. All right, cool. So that's awesome. Let's move on.
All right, next step. When you're in the air doing the double leg, now we have the height. What's next? Well, by spotting the ground and looking over my back shoulder, that's going to help to start initiate this rotation that we talked about in the beginning. Because in a double leg, you do your 360 degrees in your flip, but there's an extra quarter turn. So by using my arms and my shoulders to generate the height and the momentum needed in the twist, I'm also creating a little bit of tension in my hips through my abdomens and my shoulders, which is creating this torque. That torque we're going to use to drive our legs all the way around. So our upper body starts the torquing motion. As you can see, my upper body is facing the opposite direction than my lower body. Now, I'm gonna bring those toes all the way through the top of my flip and back to the ground on the position of the ground that I was spotting the landing.
I mean, your feet are kind of like a driving force, right? Like at this point, after you've created this torque and you start to lift your feet up and over, straight legs, right? Because it's a double leg, our feet become like this, like a ball and chain almost, where they're driving up, over, and then driving them back down to the balls of our feet.
It is, because at that point, our feet are the fastest point of our body, right? So as we're moving through that rotation, our feet are able to carry the momentum that we need to land on our feet.
So that is your double leg tutorial in a nutshell. Let's cover some of the major points and maybe some of the little confusions that people have and mistakes they make.
You got it. So key points. Make sure we're going into this technique with a gather step. Remember, if you're a fan of tricking or the NBA, the gather step is like a jump shot setup, or it's like a J-step setup, just with 2 feet and on a smaller scale. Drive that jump all the way through your toes. I think that's a common mistake that a lot of people make when jumping in general, is that they do not jump through their toes, which is killing some of their height. We're using our arms to help start our rotation and create the torque that we need in our hips to get our legs around once in the air. But don't forget, we're not setting with our arms this time, we're setting with our shoulders. So we're driving our shoulders toward the sky. That's where we want to go. Use those shoulders. It's a hidden set technique. Another thing that people tend to do is they either spot too long in the beginning, so they look where they want to go the whole time through their flip, and it really makes that double leg super sloppy, or they look way too soon. So as soon as they start the set, they whip their head around and it makes their double leg a mess. So you do want to look where you're going. I look where I'm going. I spot where my shoulders are going, and then I'm gonna look over my shoulder to spot my final landing position. Don't spend too much time spotting in the very beginning, because it's very important that you start looking at your landing after you're in the air. That brings me to my last real big point, is setting. In any flip that you do, you need to set before your rotation. So driving those shoulders in the air and riding the double leg up is our set. So we want to wait until we set the flip before we start spotting our landing.
Cool. Let's check out some Slo-Moes.
So one last quick note, if you've noticed, when I land my double leg facing the opposite direction than I started, I tend to turn an extra 180 degrees and run out. I do that more for flow, so I can connect my lines and not just do a single trick.
Sweet. So that is your double leg tutorial. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Corey's channel. It's getting big. He's going to be putting out some really cool stuff me and him are working on. And that's it.
Great.
Subscribe, like, share, do all those things. Thanks for watching, and peace out, everybody.
Perfect. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, guys.